Good day, people. This is Olin Yancey, and I just want to share something that's on my heart. The title of this message is God Doesn't Devalue People. It's funny. I just recall a few times of hearing different messages, how people talk about God's taking them to the next level, which is a good thing. But they go on these rants about cutting people off because other people can't make it to the next level with them. And some of them say it in such a way that makes them seem a little arrogant, that makes it seem like the people that so called can't make it to the next level with them, like they're not worthy or something. And that's not cool. Indeed, life plays out in such a way that people are in one chapter, two chapters, three chapters of your life, and so forth. The roles they play are no longer in your story. And, sometimes life is like that. But some people just take it to a whole nother level. Talking about they need to cut people off. They make it seem like people aren't worthy. That they're up here and the people they talk about is down here. That God's moving them up, which is nothing wrong. But you talking about leaving people behind like those people are no good, as if God doesn't have a plan for them, as if they're beneath you. Nah, that's not cool at all. And that's not God at all. God doesn't devalue people. I know in my life growing up, I had a whole lot of friends that I grew up, and at a certain time in my life, it came to a point where I didn't hang out with them or didn't hang out with them as much. You know, God did indeed call me closer to Him. I was caught up in reading the Word and even had a chance to serve the Lord in ministry. And I had friends at the time that, that took dark paths. Some of them sold drugs. Some of them got into some heavy stuff. But I never looked down on them, regardless of what God was doing through me. And regardless of what God was doing with me, God still loved those guys. God still valued them. For it's not His will that any of us perish, but come into the knowledge of Him. I was no better than any of those guys, and those guys were no better than me. God still loved them, regardless of what He was doing through me with my life. And it just bothers me how people can just, and I understand, there's such thing as toxic people being in your life, or sometimes, your mindsets are totally different, that y'all can't hang like that. But when people talk about you gotta cut people off, they can't come with you, that's kind of borderline arrogant. And that's not of God. So here's what I'm going to say. Indeed, I understand that when God calls you, you got to take heed to that call. And sometimes, or most of the times, it can be a lonely road. And you may have to separate yourself from people. But never think that you're better than those people you may be leaving behind. Or never think that you're up here and they're down there. Don't never think that God doesn't value those people, because that's not the case at all. God doesn't devalue people. So people have to be careful when they start the preaching that, oh, God's taking me to another level. Oh, them other people can't come with me. Nah, they may not be able to make that trip with you, but it's still your duty to love them. It's still your duty to pray for them. I understand toxic people, understand that, having another mindset, evolving mindset, but still, all that looking down on people, that ain't of God. It's not. Gotta watch that. People in the church, saints, we gotta watch that stuff, man. That's kind of like people in the church talking about when folks get shot up, oh, it was their time, or God called them home, or God knows what he's doing. It must be God's will. That's not God's will. Folks out here dying young, being killed, that isn't God's will. It's a result of us, God giving us free will. And with our free will, we choosing to do good and evil deeds. That stuff isn't God's will. It's sad that people suffer at the hands of other people's free will, but don't never mistake that, oh, that's God, or, God must have called that person home, or this is God's plan. Like, nah, that ain't God's plan. It's just as simple as that. You really need to get it together, And it's sad that man misrepresents God. So many times we let God down in how we live and the things that we say and believe. But I'm going to stop it right there. That was just something that was on my heart, because it really bothered me how you get those messages, God's elevating me, I'm cutting folks off. They can't hang out with me. I'm going to the next level. Like, nah. If indeed God's doing something with you, be used by God. And by all means, be humble. Don't exalt yourself. Let God do the exalting. God doesn't devalue people. That's something that man does. So, with that being said, those that are moving to the next level, indeed be used by God. But don't look down on other people because they're not where you are. That ain't God. God doesn't devalue people. And when God takes you to that other level, know that there's going to be pain if you're really going to truly submit to Him. If you're really going to do what you have to do. Because most people don't do it. And you can see a whole lot of people talking about this other level, and they're scared to go out and evangelize. And they're not truly dying to themselves. I mean, they may be good doing things when they're on stage and spotlight, but are they really doing them deeds? Them other level deeds, those next level deeds, are they praying and fasting? Are they really living a life showing compassion to their fellow man? Do they really operate in love? Are they sharing the gospel? I mean, is their heart really conditioned for this next level? I just know when I see some people preach that message, I can detect that their heart ain't right. Don't get me wrong. I'm not judging. I'm not the judge. I can't qualify. I ain't nobody special whatsoever. But just how some people devalue people, I mean, it's not right. And Christ, he loved folks. He loved the people that the religious teachers of the law didn't love. Jesus was looked down upon because he messed with lowly people. So you're telling me that you're up there to the point that you can't love lowly people like Christ has? And it's funny how Christ was so deeply rooted in the Father that his influence was king. I mean, for those people that talk about going to the next level and cutting people off, is your influence strong enough to be amongst the ungodly and shine oh so brightly that something in them says, Dag, whatever that person got, I want it. All right. That's it. I ain't going to go no further. Just God doesn't devalue people. Just know that God doesn't devalue people. So all that going to the next level stuff and cutting people, all leaving people behind, they can't make it with you. Cut that nonsense and be humble. That's it. God bless people. Thanks for listening to me.